Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. Today we're breaking down Manchester United's frustrating 3-1 defeat to Brentford. A result that raises more questions than answers for the Red Devils. In the video we're going to go through 5 key talking points from the game. What went wrong, what glimmers of hope there potentially are, and what this means going forward for Manchester United. We'll wrap up at the end then with some key takeaways and what United need to change. As always guys, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and let's jump right into it. Number 1, the defensive collapse. From the off, United looked brittle, we've got to say it. Brentford drew them out with long balls, and we mentioned this early on in our match preview that Brentford are the type of team that like to suck teams out and play balls in over the top. We know obviously Keith Andrews is a set piece coach, so he knows how to maybe isolate these kind of situations, and that's exactly what we saw from the early doors here against Brentford. Sudden transitions, and Igor Thiago punished Manchester United early on, breaking the offside trap and rifling one in. And we've seen it obviously from Harry Maguire getting sucked out too early. And he made a massive mistake. You know, he made a really, really big mistake. He didn't make up his mind early enough. You either go and get close to the player or you step up to the halfway line, you know, and try and obviously counteract that with an offside trap. He done neither. Then the second came after the cross was deflected. Thiago again in the right spot to convert from close range. And again, look, a very disappointing goal conceded by Manchester United. These 2 goals expose something deeper from Manchester United, and we've been speaking about this an awful lot. The formation left gaps on the flanks and behind the wing-backs especially. And the central defenders were, again, often isolated, and it's something that we've seen an awful lot under Rúben Amorim. In a structure where wide coverage and midline compactness is critical, these gaps are also becoming fatal too often for Manchester United, and it's very, very disappointing. I thought we could see from early on Brentford's intent. It was clear: stretch, probe and punish. And that's exactly what happened, and we're seeing it too often with Manchester United. They had no coherent answer to these kind of tactics in the opening spells. Again, it's very, very disappointing. We go out with the same type of game plan under Rúben Amorim that we've seen far too often. We're too easy to play against, and we're too easy to be gotten at. Number 2, penalty, VAR and controversy. After United clawed one back, again, look, it's great to see Sesko getting off the mark. I think it was a very scrappy goal from him, but look, it's great to see him score. Absolutely it is. I think Manchester United controlled the game a little bit more, and I thought we looked a lot comfortable. Brentford didn't really have it. I don't think Brentford had an attempt on target until midway into the second half after United scored their goal. But the moment, I suppose, that could have shifted everything was the penalty. A foul by Nathan Collins on Mbeumo in the penalty area. And everyone was expecting a red card. Everybody was expecting a red card. And, you know, it was quite clear that it was denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And VAR come out and say that he wasn't in control of the ball. That's why it wasn't given as a red card. I mean, how can you be in control of a ball before it gets to you? It's impossible. And I think it did deny a quite clear goal-scoring opportunity because he was pulled back and he didn't get a clear shot on goal. It was absolutely clear to see, and I think it's another massive, massive mistake by VAR, and we know the controversies that have been there as well. The decision itself obviously was controversial, and a lot of people have been arguing about it, but the VAR check, I think the VAR check was just far too long. It was absolutely far too long. I think there was a 6-minute gap between when the whistle was blown for the penalty and when Bruno Fernandes finally stepped up. And look, it was a weak penalty and it was comfortably saved by Kelleher. Moments like this in matches are just not falling Manchester United's way at the moment. You know, United could have drawn level. Instead, the boost went to Brentford and United lost their rhythm. And I think that kind of shows the maybe soft mentality of this Manchester United team that still remains. It really, really does. And I think it's something that we've got to look at going forward. The heads drop too quickly, and when they do, Manchester United find themselves out of the game far too often. Number 3, midfield overloads and lack of control. One of United's recurring issues this season has been lack of control in midfield. It's so clear to see. Fernandes and Ugarte playing in the double pivot yesterday. United often found themselves again outnumbered or bypassed in midfield. It's a really, really big concern that Rúben Amorim is continuing to persist with. And we're going to speak about Rúben Amorim later in the video. But it's something that's so clear for everybody to see. Brentford exploited this quite comfortably, pushing players into those zones and forcing United backwards quite easily. And even worse, United were missing, obviously, the key players through injury and suspension, Casemiro especially. So the balance in transition and midfield was compromised. And what was the result? When United tried to build attacks, there was no stable base really there. They were prone to turnovers and lacked, I suppose, any real sustained control within that midfield. It's a huge area of concern for Manchester United at the moment. Rúben Amorim is persisting with that too in midfield. We seem to be outnumbered all of the time in there, and when we look at the likes of Crystal Palace, who play a similar formation to us, they tend to be able to get that extra man into midfield an awful lot. And I think one of the big areas of concern for us is that when our 3 players up front, Sesko, Cunha and Buemo, even Mount when he plays, whoever plays in one of them 3 forward positions, our press is quite good, but when the ball is played through our first press, nobody gets back behind the ball quickly enough. And that's where we're getting outnumbered in midfield. It's a huge area of concern, but it seems to be an area that Rúben Amorim is not focusing on enough. Number 4, Sesko's goal. Amid the chaos of what was this game, Benjamin Sesko offered a small glimmer of hope, I suppose. Look, he volleyed home after the rebounds and scraps in the box. Look, can you say he showed a bit of instinct? Maybe so. He was there for the knockdown. He got the initial header after Kelleher was weak with a punch. And look, he ultimately put the ball in the net. It's fantastic to see him off the mark for Manchester United. Young player coming in. I've liked what I've seen from him so far this season. His movement, his link-up play is quite good. And I do think if he can get a string of games where he can score, I think it's going to absolutely kick him on, absolutely. I suppose that moment gave United a route back into the game, and we mentioned already, United looked a lot more composed once we scored. But it was isolated. After the goal, I suppose, United's attack lacked, again, structure. A lot of that is coming from midfield, I've got to say. There was no consistent build-up, and chances were few and far between. I think against Brentford yesterday, the front line never really linked well. I think that's clear to say. And the creative spark to break Brentford down wasn't really there. It was missing. I don't think Buemo had really a good game, if I'm being honest with you. Obviously, he's going back to play against his former team. I had a bet on where all he needed to do was get one shot on target, and it was double the money. And he didn't even get a shot on target. Poor game from him. Good to see Sesko getting off the mark, absolutely. And, all that's left now is for Cunha to score out of the 3 front players that we bought in the summer. I do think when they click, we will look more dangerous. But again, it's the build-up play and it's the chance creation that's concerning when it comes to scoring goals this season. Number 5, Amorim under pressure. We've got to talk about the man in the dugout, Rúben Amorim. This defeat puts his future under real scrutiny. Obviously, since arriving, he hasn't been able to deliver consistent results in the Premier League. We're yet to win back-to-back games in the league under him. And these negative stats just continue to form for him. And look, it's not good. It's the same issues that keep repeating. Leaky defence, a midfield that, can't control games, an attack, like we said, that looks disconnected. Amorim's system, which works so well at Sporting, relies heavily on compact pressing and of course the wing-back balance as well. But so far at Manchester United have been exposed far too easily. And the question is, can he adapt? I think it's quite clear so far, fans are split. Some believe he just needs time and better recruitment. Others are already asking if he's the right man for the job. I'm not saying Rúben Amorim out here, but I've lost faith in him, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he is willing to adapt enough for him to be able to turn this around. When we look at how we've played, and, I don't see what can change without him changing his formation that will make us improve drastically enough to get us up that table. Is it going to be players coming back? No, because Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez are basically the only ones missing. Other than him changing his system and adapting to the opposition that we're playing against, I don't see us being able to turn things around. The reality is, in modern football, time is limited. If performances like this continue, the pressure on the board to act will grow. We are currently in relegation form, and that has been the case since Rúben Amorim has got here. How long can you allow that to continue before you have to make a change? Amorim doesn't look like he's on the brink just yet, but unless there's a shift in tactics or results, speculation around his future is only going to intensify. So what are the big takeaways from this defeat? Obviously, United's defensive structure has been torn apart. They need better protection from the back line, for the back line from the midfield, especially in transitions. The handling of the penalty incident, I suppose, again shows the margins between being lucky and unlucky. And, Bruno Fernandes having 6 minutes between when the whistle is blown to when he actually takes the penalty can't help. It really can't. Without midfield control, the attack can't function. I think that's quite clear. Reinforcements or tactical adjustments are absolutely essential if Rúben Amorim is to change anything here. Sesko's goal reminds us that there are players with intent, but the system has to support them. And finally, putting pressure on the manager. Either results and structure improve now, or the criticism will continue to grow and Ineos will have to make a decision. I think in the next few matches, I'll be watching closely to see if United obviously adjust their approach, tighten defensively, and I suppose restore confidence in the attack. If they can't, the season is going to be like it was last year and we're going to be in a relegation battle. But look, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you've liked the video, please drop a like. Subscribe if you are new. Let me know in the comments what you think. As always, I do appreciate you all watching. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'll see you on the next one.